Broncos country. What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful evening. I'm back a second time. I had to bust out the foam Bronco head with my good friends, Jeremy and Marc from Marky Sports. Guys, Broncos get a wonderful victory. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. Happy to talk about this for a second time. Hey, let's go ahead and get instant reaction. We'll start with you, Jeremy. How'd you feel about today's game?
Dude, I felt so great about it, but to match your amazing hat, I gotta say this is Bo Nix's first win right here. Remember these things? Remember those things?
I dig it. I like
it. Yeah, exactly. That's bringing him back right there. My daughter loves that thing. No, man, it was yeah. I mean, you know what it was? So it started off with like mild euphoria just from like, oh my gosh, we actually won a game and it's been how long? But now that time has gone by, it's turned into more kind of a relief because it was like the questions about Sean Payton as he watched, obviously not. The questions about Bo Nix, can he show signs to be, a franchise guy? Showed that. The defense, Riley Moss, the line without Baron Browning, like how's Vance Joseph going to look? All of these questions are slowly like, we're finally starting to see signs. And, we had 2 rough weeks, but the whole season we've said over and over is this is all about Bo Nix. This is all about seeing if we have our guy. And you can't look at a game like that on the road, early start, the thing that we can never do in the heat. And the only team that wilted was the Bucs. And I was not expecting it to be like that, but we just looked a whole different. And I guess the talk all week was Sean Payton was like so confident. The team was so confident. They didn't lose confidence in themselves. And that's right there so different from what's going on. If after like a couple losses with Nate Hackett or Fangio or Vance Joseph or whoever, you kind of were like, here we go. And you could see that in the team. I mean, that's one thing for the fans to panic. That's going to happen. Sure. But for the team to just be like, no, we know who we are and what we have. And even with McGlinchey going down, Baron Brand, all these people going out, they were like, no, we're going to be fine. And we believe in each other. And they played for each other. And that was the most exciting thing.
It was beautiful. Marc, thanks for joining the show again. What was your instant reaction?
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice to have a victory, a Sunday evening. It makes the Sunday evenings, it makes the preparation for the work week a little bit better. So
yeah,
obviously it was great to get the win, man. But as I always said, you just wanted to see a team legitimately make adjustments, look functional, do the simple things that they've shown in camp and in preseason that they're capable of doing. And it was just great to see them do it today, man. So it feels wonderful. I love all the progress, and I think it's a great building block for this team for sure, man.
And no doubt. Yeah, to come out and get a 19-point victory on the road in the East Coast, a 2-0 football team that made the playoffs last year. Man, we were menacing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys want to just start a little bit more talking about Bo Nix, or we can talk about the defense first? Where do you guys want to start? I guess Marc,
take it away, Marc.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, man, is the defense is absolutely balling. I mean, I think that they deserve their flowers. They're playing so good. They're playing free. You can see they're playing fast. They're physical. They're just fun to watch. And a special shout out to PS2, man. I mean, what a performance today. Like, just completely erasing Mike Evans, and literally half of that side of the field made it so tough for Baker and the boys there. And a lot of those sacks that we had, I mean, 7 sacks, like somebody had said in the chat earlier, 7 sacks, man. A lot of those were coverage sacks. I'd say probably at least 5 of them were coverage sacks because there was just nothing downfield. So I love the defense. And what's really nice about having the defense play the way that they're playing is it keeps us in every game, right? I mean, you can even make the argument like the first 2 games, we were in those games. Now, offensively, we were atrocious, and by no means did we deserve to win it. But it was all you can ask for in this league, man, is putting your team in a chance to win. And today they absolutely balled out hard. So special shout out to the defense, man. That's what really stood out to me the most today.
Yeah.
And Andrea Tillman too, man. Look at that guy.
Oh, man. Tillman was wonderful. And I'm glad he's on the 53. I forgot that he's like elevated already onto the 53. So let's keep him there. Jeremy, man, who really stood out to you in this defensive performance that you want to give some kudos to?
I'll beat the horse again. Riley Moss. I just love that guy. I love the fact he just is feisty. He reminds me of Chris Harris, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He just is in you every single play. And even if the touchdown that we gave up, people are going to go, oh, I gave up a touchdown. That's perfect coverage. That took a perfect throw and an unbelievable catch. And the guy using his body, you're not going to be able, like, they're going to make plays too. These guys are some of the best in the world. That guy's one of the best slot receivers in the world. And I mean, nothing came easy. Like Marc was saying, PS2 locked down his side. And not only that, PS2's coming up making tackles. He's like, you could tell he took last week personally with like the calls that went against him. And he's like, didn't get the respect that he should have. That's on his name. Like, he came out and was like, oh yeah, okay, watch this. And I just loved his attitude. Usually he kind of plays real smooth and kind of like will tackle if he has to. This time he was like, I'm gonna hit somebody. I loved it. And that play at the end when Riley Moss comes up and hits the guy, puts his helmet and his shoulder right into the football, pops it out. That's basically the game. I just love it. And there's so many guys on the line that just so stepped up. Zach Allen again has just been a monster.
Yes.
Draymond, like all the people that were mad that we didn't sign Draymond and we signed Zach Allen instead, that dude is just showing exactly what Vance Joseph saw in him in Arizona. Usually when you have to go to the free agency to get somebody, it's usually like a retread, a guy coming off injury, a guy that's really expensive that the other team is kind of down. We're getting Zach Allen on the come up, and I love that. Like he has not played any better than he's playing right now in the National Football League. And he's young, and man, that's exciting. So yeah, those two guys for sure. But man, there's a handful. There's like, I like the defense. Even when they would give up some yards, they had an attitude of like, yeah, but you're not going to score. And they would make the play.
Yeah.
And even on that fourth down, when it looked like Baker was going to run for it, and PJ Locke made him go inside, and Zach Allen's, who already went past him, is pursuing on the back end and just erased him. This felt like we jumped on him and then slowly smothered them the whole game. And if it wasn't for that Javonte fumble, I don't know what would have happened, because that was about to be 20-0, possibly 24 if we score a touchdown there. And yeah, it's just a dominating performance that I don't think anybody saw coming.
Oh man, it was just so great to see this team really come out and be just the more dominant physical team, I thought, throughout the whole game. We saw that against Seattle for a half, and then Seattle just came out and kicked our butts in the second half. Pittsburgh, we got our butts kicked there, man, on the lines. And credit to everybody, man. Credit to this team really responding against a good Bucs team. It helps. Excuse me, with Vita Vea and a few of those other guys out, like we caught a break there. But even our guys that were filling in for our starters, like Palczewski, man. Palczewski at right tackle. I thought he had a pretty good game, man, in his first start. Yeah, what'd you guys think of him?
If you don't hear his name, it's good news, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about the guy a lot. I can't say like I really liked him. I just go based off of what, you hear. And I know that the coaching staff really liked him. Love the fact that he started so many games in college. But dude, he was so solid. I watched him a lot. I really tried to pay a lot of attention. I mean, just no holding penalties, no false starts. I don't even think he gave up a pressure. He was just nails, and he was good in the run game. I thought he was awesome. I love that. What I really liked about this game too, guys, and David, I'd like to know what you think about this too. What I liked about this game is it's always nice to obviously get a win, but when you also see like a lot of those younger guys that haven't gotten a lot of chance to play, like a like Palczewski, for example, or, Tyler Beatty, or I guess it's Tyler Bidet, that's a whole nother topic. But, yeah, I mean, it actually is Bidet, which is crazy, but I was going to lose my mind.
So Cliff said that it's wrong. I watched a video of Tyler Beatty saying it's Tyler Beatty. So it is Beatty.
All right. Thank God. That makes me feel a lot better because I was getting so mad.
Good.
But anyways, just seeing a lot of those younger guys like step up and, play well. That's what and obviously Riley Moss continuing with that development. I think that's really the best of both worlds for this team. If they can get wins and keep that confidence, and get some confidence going, but also get a lot of these guys the ability to shine and play more, because we know what we have in guys like Javonte. Cortland played really well today, but like a lot of those veteran guys, and it's not like I want to see them completely eliminated, but it's nice to see other players stepping up too. So I think that's what I was really happy with today.
Yeah. We got more out of our young guys, and we were menacing, man. We were dominant. It was great to see Riley Moss continuing to stat games. I guess right now I'm just gonna count him in for like one play where the quarterback is just making a great throw, back shoulder. It seems like he has one completed against him every single game. That's just, even though he's got good coverage, he's just beat on it. But like we got three corners, man, that can cover really well. Our safeties. We had a really good game from both Brandon Jones and PJ Locke, both really good in open space today. Of course, we saw Brandon Jones get a pick along with that fumble recovery forced by Riley Moss. Like you said, Mark, we got guys like Cortland Sutton, Will Jordan Humphrey, Javonte Williams. These guys, we kind of know what they are. Adam Troutman, like there's not really any greater ceiling to discover, right? And it was great to see our young players contribute to this win in a significant way. And I want to talk about Troy Franklin. Like, let me pull up the stat sheet for him. It was great to see him get involved, because guys like Troy Franklin, guys like Marvin Mims, I still think that there's so much more to discover with what they're able to bring. I guess Troy Franklin, here only 2 catches for 11 yards, but targeted 5 times. And that was significant. He was 3rd on the team in targets today. Marvin Mims, I don't know, man, but it was nice to see Troy Franklin in that speed incorporated more. I thought he did a pretty good job of still getting upfield on those couple bubbles that he had. And Bo just missed, you just airmailed one to him on I don't know if that was like a corner route or like a deep out, something like that. Cornerback kind of made a nice little play on it. Yeah. But it was wonderful to see, man, Troy Franklin get involved in this offense. And let's talk about the running back position, man. Let's talk about it. Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Beatty, Javonte Williams. What do you guys want right now? We'll start with you, Jeremy.
Yeah, Beatty. It's not even a question. It's Beatty. I mean, he showed. So, the last 2 weeks, you're kind of like, we got to get the run game going. And then, like, PFF would come out and they'd be like, oh, the Broncos win rate on run blocking was great, except for, like, we got no yards. And then you put Beatty in and you see him go through holes that Javonte's, like, going to run into guys. He just runs by them. And you go, oh, maybe it is way more open than we thought.
Yeah.
And he is getting those extra 2-3 yards at the end of each run. And you just see a whole another level. And I mean, we all love Javonte, and he's a warrior for fighting back and all that stuff. And that was a tough fumble just because he's like getting flipped over and the ball weirdly squirts out and all that kind of thing. But if this was the first time, it'd be fine. But it's just, I don't know if he needs to just have less carries and maybe more effective carries, but him being like the primary back, I think that should come to an end after this game.
Yeah.
Mark?
I think he needs to get relegated to the Samaje Perine role of last year.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. It actually like literally breaks my heart, because not only did I love the guy as a rookie, but being able, like, what I saw from him coming back from that injury was out of this world unbelievable. but he's just not very good anymore. He's just not. I mean, he's not a good running back. He doesn't bring anything to this offense that I think is very special. And I think this week, I mean, I tweeted about it a little bit ago. I think this week is going to really show what kind of a coach Sean Payton is going to be with this team. Like, can he make those? I wouldn't even say it's a tough decision, but it's still like, it still takes some stones, I think, to really, not necessarily, I wouldn't say bench Javonte, but relegate him to that third down role. So I guess you kind of are benching him for other young guys that want to get the opportunity, because there's no reason why we shouldn't play Tyler Beatty more. He's shown no reason. And people forgot about it. When he was in college at Missouri, he was a very, very good pass catching back. He had like 50 catches his senior year. So the guy can be a dual threat. Now, I understand Javonte's not going to go anywhere because of his ability to pass pro, and he had a unbelievable pass block today, actually, on one of the passes to, I think it was to Cortland. So he can bring it in that sense. But yeah, you gotta bring Tyler Beatty in. He's really just got the juice. Every time he touches the ball, it seems like he's making plays.
Yeah, he's the most dynamic back that we saw in preseason. Oh, no, Jeremy, you're good. You froze for a second. Yeah, but most dynamic back we saw in preseason. And I think this is an instance where, like, I always think about, the Shanahan type of tree, or, even Kubiak to some respects, which is like they just had absolutely no loyalty to anybody in those running backfields. And it was kind of anybody could take over that backfield any season. And you just can't deny Tyler Beatty has just been so much more productive with the touches that he's gotten. And it's not all because, these guys are just blocking better the time like Tyler Beatty's in there. Like, the dude is just slippery, like finding those small crevices in between the tackles. And I think everybody's kind of getting the same offensive line, and he is what I spoke about earlier today. He's just making the most out of it compared to Jaleel. I think, Tyler Beatty, I would like to see him inserted into the starting lineup, have Jaleel continue to stay in his role, and then keep Javonte there on third downs. Like, I think he's a fine receiver out of the backfield. And like you said, Mark, he's still solid in pass protection, but this isn't it's sad, man. This isn't a running back in a contract year in which he is playing in a way in which he's going to be here next year. And the DNVR guys, I was listening to them at the gym. They pointed out how Sean Payton had Tyler Beatty out there in that last series to kind of ice the game, end the game, and all of that. And usually you're going with who you trust most in that moment. So hopefully that bodes well for Tyler Beatty next week.
Well, I think, like you touched on it, Mark, it's going to come down to pass pro. If they can trust somebody other than Javonte to pass protect, that's going to be the main thing. If Beatty can do that, I think there's no question he should get the reps. Mm-hmm. I think that, they're worried about tipping their hand, because remember McLaughlin last year, every time he came in, they're like, he's either getting the ball, they're not passing because he can't pass pro. And I think that's the one concern that they would have, is like showing their hand if Beatty can't pass pro. But there's no question, when we were wanting to run the ball at the end of the game, that's when Sean Payton was like, give the Beatty. And he delivered. I mean, that was the play when he broke that 45-yarder or whatever it was. That's when the Bucs fans headed for the exits, because they knew that's going to put us, that's going to kick a field goal, that's going to go up 3 scores, and that's it. And, I was hoping for like a long, slow drive. And then the first play, he just rips one off, and you go, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, that works. That works too.
Yeah, because when was the last time we had a 45-yard run? You're not even thinking that way. But the dude just broke it and put on the burners and got as much as he could off that, and that was it. That was a wrap. And it's just going to come down to pass pro on for the other guys. And
how many plays is a running back actually pass protecting too? Like, there's obviously, in the very obvious situations, right? Like, it's typically not even just third downs. It's like 2 minute and then 4 minute offense mainly. for the most part, you're not really always asking these guys to pass pro. And I think that there's ways to be able to offset it. And, but I mean, hey, I don't think there's any reason why he couldn't do it. A lot of people say because of his size. I mean, Philip Lindsay was a pretty good pass protector. If I remember, he wasn't a really big guy. There's a lot of smaller running. All you got to do is just, yeah. All you got to do is just, take the legs out or something, or be able to, slow him down to an extent. But if I'll give up a little bit of vulnerability in pass pro, if it means 5, 6, 7 yards of carry. So, if you're running the ball like that, you might even have to pass pro. You can just keep running.
Dude, speaking of the fact, how nice is it to have a quarterback that actually can feel people behind him? Oh my gosh.
When he ran that 30-yard play when the pocket was breaking down.
That was okay. So that play right there is for all the people that were like, "Oh, Bo Nix he's accurate and he's can do some stuff, but is he ever going to compete with the Patrick Mahomes of the division?" And that play right there showed you he can do those things because that dude's breathing down his neck, free, 100% beat Garrett Bowles. He's already wound up, feels him, scoots forward. The other guy's launching. Then he scampers, and then once he's running, most guys would just be like, "Oh, I got out of it. Let me go down." He could feel that he was going to beat the other guy. He was ahead of him, and then extended it for another 7 yards before he gets tackled. And it's one of those things where it's just that's all feel. You can't teach any of that. And there's so many quarterbacks that we've had that couldn't feel that, and that was the most frustrating thing. I love Trevor Siemian, couldn't feel it. Case Keenum's, Joe Flacco's, Teddy Bridgewater. Even Drew Luck, they would just be standing there staring down the field, guys coming free right behind him, and you're like, oh no, you could just feel it coming. And that was one of those plays where you're just like, all right, well, if you can do that, I don't see why you can't handle compete with anybody in the National Football League because every play is live.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. It is wonderful, man, having a quarterback that's a true dual threat. And let's get into this Bo Nix stuff a little bit because loved how we opened up the game, really getting him into a rhythm. We saw some designed runs for him. We saw some boot action at the end of that first drive, right? Gave him an option of dumping it off to Javonte or running it in. And it worked out for him to run in. But I think utilizing his legs on 3rd and short, 4th and short, whatever, all that worked really, really well. And our receivers didn't drop passes. The quick timing looked great. And you can see things are starting to connect with him a little bit more downfield, 100%. which is great. What do you guys think of the game plan and how we came out on offense? Totally surprised me on how we came out on offense, that first drive especially.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I thought, thank God, right? It took us long enough, it seems like. I really loved the fact that when we won the toss, we said we want ball. That's kind of, I think it's the first time Sean Payton's ever done it in his tenure here. But that kind of sets a tone and a message right off the bat. I thought the game plan was great. They did a lot of, they went empty a lot of the times. They spread the field a lot more. They did a lot more sprint right, sprint left type of concepts, get the ball out, get in rhythm. And I agree. I think today it seemed like something really clicked a little bit more with Bo. There was still a lot that I think he left out on the table and obviously needs to work on, but his footwork was way better. He seemed like he was playing a lot more free. Even he had a throwaway that I was really happy about. It was a good job. That's a really good play. There was one where it was a sprint left. He turned his back, guys in his face. He just dirts it. Good plays where you're all right, you can kind of see that he's not panicking as much. And I don't know, I really got a different vibe from him today. And I thought the game plan made that a lot easier. They were running a lot of Oregon concepts, which is really why I think they tried to get Troy Franklin going early. So I loved it. I thought it made perfect sense. And, establishing the pass to be able to open up the run. And that works for me. If you want to do that every single time, I'm fine. If you want to start off with running the ball and then open up the pass, I didn't really care. I just wanted to see an identity. And today there was an actual identity. So kudos to Sean Payton, man, for that. I thought he did really, really good today.
and here's the thing, I don't know if they changed the offense that much, but the thing that I felt like helped him so much was getting the play in faster.
Yes.
Like we were getting to the line of scrimmage with 15, 13 seconds left in the play clock instead of 3. It's like, I mean, again, we talked about it all last week, but when your rookie quarterback is not able to like set the protections, look and see what's going on, and now he's like panicking, like you're setting yourself up for failure. I don't care if you're a 15-year vet, like that's trouble. And they did such a better job. There was I don't know if you guys caught it at the end of the game when it was in hand and we basically were like running out the clock. Peyton went to Davis Webb and he was like, he was saying like, great job, whatever. And you could just tell, like, I don't know what was done this week. And the quote from Sean Payton this week about Bo Nix was, he's locked in. So, you know, I think that goes into taking the ball first. I think he was chomping at the bit. I think he could see the look in his quarterback's eyes and said, okay, I'm confident in what the plan is. I think they worked out how to get the play in faster. I don't know if Webb is like suggesting things to Sean ahead of time. I don't know if he's helping relay things. I don't know what's going on, but that was so huge. And I think that just calms your quarterback down when he's like just looking around and there's still 7 seconds left and you can hike it whenever you want. We got how many false starts today? And that's just off of like, we don't have to snap it at 1 second. We can.
And he was getting them to jump. We had back-to-back offsides.
I'm sorry. I said false starts. I meant offsides.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I was gonna say. Like we got it over and over and over, and that was just because they didn't know when we were going to snap it, and we almost got like a third and super long all the way down just off of offsides calls.
Yeah.
And
got us back
like you said, the play I was most proud of was that one where he's in the end zone and he's booting, and then there's a free rusher, corner blitz coming off, and he's just like, in that moment, you have that play is going to be two things. It's either going to be a bad play or it's going to be a horrible play because nothing good is going to come out of that. You're either going to get sacked, stripped, throw a pick because you're just forcing something stupid, or you're just like, this isn't it. Live to play another down, and that's what he did. And so many young guys feel like Caleb Williams feel like every single play they have to make something huge. And I love the fact that he was just like, it's not happening. I'm not going to hurt my team, and just live to fight another down. That was so big. That just shows you like that was like the veteran in him, where you're just like, man, he's come a long way quickly. And that's just smart. That's just smart football. Because
and did you know what happened right after that? Did you see? I mean, if you remember what happened right after that play, 17-yard completion to Humphrey. We get the first down. It ends up being a 15-play, 8-minute drive.
Wow.
Right.
So
and that play
it's like that's what that means by live to play another down, right? That was huge.
Yeah, and that was because he hit Humphrey right when he was making his turn, so he had the opportunity to turn upfield. Put that move on those two guys that kind of ran into each other, and it took a shoestring tackle, or else he's off to the races. So yeah, I mean, that's one of those play calls where it's like it's risky, and you're thinking you're gonna fool them, and if you don't, you just gotta like let it go because it can just go really bad. And that's, you know, growing up watching, you know, Kubiak and Shanahan and all those people, Jake Plumbers and Elway's the booting, like. We've seen it be so successful, but like it can be bad if you don't know what to do in like a split second. Yeah. And that's where it showed that he could handle that.
Yeah. The little things started to look so much better this week. And I love how you pointed this out, Marc, is that we ran a lot of those Oregon type concepts at the beginning, man. Just getting him in a rhythm, you know, moving the pocket a little bit, giving him, I believe we gave him some RPOs and stuff like that. Like, getting a rhythm, RPOs. Man. Yeah. And it's very similar to like what we saw in the preseason. I don't know if Joe Lombardi was actually calling plays or somebody else was in the preseason. Like, I don't know. I know people have kind of talked about that, but I don't know if that's true. I don't really listen to many of the official reports or even honestly the press conferences, but it was nice to see those things like finally emphasized to open up a game, and we just reap the dividends of that. I think like that is you're just seeing things start to click now downfield. There's still some timing. I think Bo Nix is still learning like what kind of windows he can hit when, because you saw ones that were kind of looked a little dangerous at certain times that fell incomplete, were just a little off. But again, like with a lot of the other passes, even downfield, you know, he threaded the needle to Cortland Sutton on a couple, and even on that fade in the end zone where Cortland was just out of bounds. I mean, that was still thrown really, really well. I would assume that we're going to see his accuracy improve downfield. I think he's still just trying to learn the speed of the game. For context, guys, this is a little bit of a side note, but you know, I also do the Buffs channel, so I look at the film from Broncos games, and I also look at the film from Buffs games. Earlier this week was looking at some Broncos film, and Lexi, she mainly watches the Buffs games with me, and she was looking at the Broncos tape, and she was like, wow, she's like, why are you playing this sped up? And I was like, this is not sped up. It just shows you how much faster the NFL is, because she could instantly tell, like, wow, this looks on a completely different level than the college games that we watch. And that was kind of a cool little thing to experience with her, because it really does go to show like these guys are playing at double fast speed than anything that he saw in college, and it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust.
Yeah, and that's what we saw. You know, that's what we've seen with Bo, is like he's taken a little time. Things haven't been perfect. Like, obviously, timing has been off on some the first two games. The thing about some of those plays where he squeezed it in and that he seemed like he was like a little bit off, he is one of those guys that can feel if somebody's crashing on one side or the other, and he will still throw it and give the person a chance. Sometimes it'll be backside, sometimes it'll be frontside. That one that he almost hit Franklin one-handed. He couldn't catch it, but it's like because he could feel the guy coming across, and he's like, I'm going to give you a chance to catch it. You might not, but like at least it's going to be thrown in a safe area. If I throw it to you in the middle of your chest, it could get picked. But if I throw it to you all the way on the outside, only you can catch it. He did that with Cortland a couple of times. There was one guy behind Cortland and two other guys crashing on the other side, and he threw it into the zone, into the pocket, and it ended up being a little behind Cortland, but it was like that was the only guy that can make that play. He didn't catch it, but like if he would have led him, that could have been a pick or a tip. So he's just one of those people that has that innate feel of like, I'm still going to give you a shot, and people are going to go, oh, that wasn't accurate. But it's like, no, that was deadly accurate, because if he just throws it how you exactly are expecting to get the ball, that might be picked or might be tipped. There was one to Franklin too, where the guy just made an amazing play. He fell off of, I think, Troutman or one of the tight ends, and then dove and broke up the pass that was intended for Franklin. And Franklin would have been an amazing throw. But like, I mean, I don't think that was going to get picked, because that would have been like unbelievable pick. Maybe Travis Hunter.
Only Travis Hunter, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I will say like a lot of those throws are just where they have to be. And even if they're not successful, it's still a successful rep, because it's either there or nowhere.
Yeah, no doubt. No, it was crazy. I was listening to Cecil earlier too. He's made this point before, and I think we've even talked about it in the past. But you look at Bo Nix's history, I think it's always important. I always look at history, because I think it's obviously just like a real life data points. Mm-hmm. But anytime he's gotten a big switch in his career, right? He went to Auburn. He struggled really badly. Then he fixed what he was struggling with, and he got better. And then he goes to Oregon. He was really bad in his first couple of games at Oregon, improved upon what he got, and then he ended up getting better. And he talked about it was even the same thing at the Senior Bowl, right? His first day was not good. Second day was better, and then the third day he looked amazing. And then in training camp, right? He starts off camp, struggling a little bit. Then he really improves and kind of evens the playing field with Stidham, and then he got better to the point where he ran away from it. So it's like, does that mean it's going to be that exact same trajectory? Obviously not, but it's really important that this is somebody that he's kind of built that way in the sense of his confidence is not going to waver. He's just going to look at what he's doing and continue to get better. And you saw, game 1 struggled, game 2, very slight improvement, but there definitely was improvement, but not as much. But game 3, a very big leap, right? And so you want to see that trajectory continuing. That's the biggest thing.
I actually thought last week was a pretty good improvement. It just wasn't resulted in improvement. Like there was so many little things, but both of those 2 games felt horrible in the moment when we were watching it and go, oh my God, this is ugly. What are we doing? I can't believe Sean Payton's watched all the stuff, all the emotions. But then when the all 22 guys, Tim Jenkins and all these other people come out and watch it, they go, this is close. And even David's breakdown, this is closer than it looked. Like it looked bad. The results weren't there, but like you can see he's looking in the right place, or there's a drop, or there's some sort of thing that ends up being the reason why the drive stalls and it's 3 and out. But it just like we said last week, it just needs to get that momentum. You just got to get the feet moving, the ball rolling downhill. And then all of a sudden everybody's building confidence. I honestly think like it felt like this game, and not just Bo Nix, but the whole team, especially the young guys, they've been hearing for 2 weeks now how we have no talent on this team. And how, what do you expect? You're paying 70-some million dead cap, and this team doesn't have any guys, and we need playmakers, and there's nothing. And they, if you're on the team and you're hearing that, and you're all these guys, Josh Reynolds and Sutton's been not playing well, and all these other people, like you can either shrink and just disappear, or you can say, oh yeah, let me show them. And that's what it felt like. It just felt like they all came in with an attitude of like, no, we're not what you guys have been saying. And to rally around, your coach that obviously was hearing all kinds of stuff, and he handpicked you. I remember, again, going back to Mike Shanahan, those years when we were good and he was building those guys up and he was finding the Terrell Davises and finding the Ed McCaffreys and the Rod Smiths, he would constantly say, you are the guys that I want on the team. Out of all the people that I could pick and that could be on this team, you're the ones that I want. And that really builds up the confidence of a player. Even if they're not playing well, they know I was handpicked to be on this team and I'm here for a reason. And you're going to fight so much harder in the rough times, especially for people that are getting like all the media going against him and all this stuff. And you could just really feel that. I mean, I just love the attitude of the team.
Yes.
And they just did not, it would be so easy to pack it up right now. And, we can all say, oh, you get paid all this money and but there's a lot of people in the NFL that would not respond in the same way that they did. And to go into, Tampa Bay, who's 2-0, they just beat the Lions on the road. They're at home, early start away, 120 on the field, humidity, there's a million excuses to not play well, and they didn't take any of those. And that was what was so satisfying. And the defense and the special teams. Will Lutz clutch.
Yes.
Marvin Mims with a longer turn.
Yes.
Like all of it was just complementing each other. And that was so good to see. Again, the Javonte Williams fumble kind of like shook it a little bit. And man, we were texting during the game. How big was that drive, that 2-minute drive? And Sean Payton, I love the fact that he was trying to take timeouts. Give me 2 minutes. Give me as much time as I can get, because I have confidence that Bo and the offense is going to drive down and get points. Yep. And they did that. And you minimize 7 points down to 4 because of that drive. You take away, and you're not getting the ball back to start the second half because you took it in the beginning. That was just such a huge momentum stopper. Yep. And momentum is so huge in the NFL. So that drive to me, and then to get that long drive like we were talking about, like Marc was saying, that was so huge. I mean, it's just a backbreaker.
I feel like when you take 8 minutes off of a drive and you score 3, it's more effective than scoring a touchdown on like a 2 or 3 minute drive. Especially when you have the lead, because the time at that point becomes almost more important than anything. So yeah, that was big timing. That was awesome.
Definitely.
Love it. Love to see it.
I want to talk a little bit about more so the defense again with D-Rock coming in here, bringing up Tillman, bringing
Yes,
up
sir.
CB2, Riley Moss. And man, like, I know sometimes I'm trying to think back, guys, curious of your opinion on this, but I don't think this defense is, 2015 level is like the elite of the elite,
Yeah.
but this defense is feeling very damn good. And I think what's very encouraging is not only of course, you're going to get amazing play out of Pat Surtain, and people will say, to your point, Jeremy, that you brought up earlier, well, we got all this money in dead cap to Russell Wilson. You can't really get the best talent, but I think we've done a pretty good job. And Coach Sean Payton, that's why I was so pumped about having him here, is he might have his stubbornness with play calling and certain things, just like the Shanahans do or whatnot, but he develops those guys like you were talking about. He develops guys on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. A guy like Dondre Tillman, credit to George Payton as well for signing him. We see a guy like Jordan Jackson. I believe he was undrafted or 7th round from Air Force like a couple years ago with the Saints. Now here. We have Alex Singleton. This was a signing where he was mainly a special teams player with Philadelphia, and our leading tackler yet again, Jonathan Cooper, 7th round pick, I believe, out of Ohio State, because Browning, I think, was the high pick. And you see Jonathan Cooper, he's playing like he's going to get that contract extension, man.
I love that dude.
I just loved it, man. I just loved it. And guys like Zach Allen, you already talked about, dominant DJ Jones, feel like now that he's got a little bit more support there on the defensive line, he's starting to make some noise. This defense is really coming together, and I'm really happy for Vance Joseph, man. Sean Payton easily could have scapegoated him at the beginning of last season. And you're seeing the benefit of coming back everybody's second year in the system.
Yeah. No, he's dialing it up right now, man. The defense is phenomenal. It was crazy because I feel like today we saw a lot more D-line combos, and it's probably just because it was really hot. But there was a lot of times we took out DJ Jones, put in Malcolm Roach, put in Jordan Jackson, didn't miss a beat, Yeah. Really a lot more deep. But like I said, they're just flying around. Like, I used to be so nervous, especially early last year. It was like 3rd and 10. I'd be like, oh man, they're still probably going to find a way to get the first down,
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, 3rd and 7 plus, you're confident. You're like, these guys are going to, they're really solid. And, Jaquan McMillan wasn't making the plays like he was necessarily last year, but he's really underrated still there and really good in the slot. And it doesn't seem like we're missing Justin Simmons at all. So I love watching his defense play, and it definitely helps because it allows the offense a little bit more patience, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to what D-Rock said in the comments about Brandon Jones, he, Justin Simmons, he's making big plays there. I mean, that was so key, and especially when we jumped on them early, and then all of a sudden that first drive they get, we pick them off, and you're like, oh, okay, like that was big to go up 2 scores like that. And yeah, I have not always been the biggest Vance Joseph stan, we'll say, but here's the thing, that he figured out something in that second half, and I think he figured out 2 things. One, he has a great cornerback 2 and cornerback 3 that allows him to, he blitzed on like 70 something %, and he knew Baker is going to have to beat us under pressure, and I don't think you can do it. And he just made Baker's day just so rough. I was shocked that we were coming as often as we were, and there was nothing open. Like you said, Mark, how many of those sacks were coverage sacks? Because Moss locked down his side, PS2's locking down Evans, and you have Singleton and McMillan and all these guys roaming in the middle, and they were just coming. They were hunting today, and that was so nice to see. And Allen has how many different people? Did anybody have a multiple sack game, or was it just
Tillman?
Who was it? Tillman? Yeah.
Tillman had 2, and then someone else had 2 also.
It's guys like Tillman and Beatty who like finally get their opportunity in prime time in a legit game and show their stuff.
So Devon Key, John Franklin Myers, Nick Bonino, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper all had 1 each. So that's 5. Dondre Tillman with 2, dude.
Nice. And I'll say Zach Allen was the reason for I think Key getting his sack, Tillman getting one of his sacks, and then there was another one that he blatantly full out caused, and then Baker just moved, and the other guy ended up getting him. But he's just been an absolute monster.
Yeah, it's been so great to see these guys really come along. Guys, any other thoughts, man? Like, I'm a week ago at this time terrified of facing the New York Jets, but I'm thinking
what a difference a week can make, man. Yeah, I know. I'm feeling confident. It's crazy.
I was thinking last week, like, it's only going to take one really good Bo Nix game for the whole narrative to flip. Because I mean, if you're out on Bo Nix or you're out on this team after 2 weeks, it's like, what are we doing? Like, like we're changing up so much key stuff, and then to be like, well, you guys didn't start good, so I guess you're bad forever. Like, take it easy. Like that's crazy.
You gotta chill out.
Hey, we got to remember that Peyton Manning looked bad those first 3.5 games when he was here until things started clicking. Was it against Dallas?
Yeah, that's Peyton Manning in year 13 or whatever it was. I mean, it's insane to just be like, oh, well, if this guy's not good from the first start of his career, then I can't ever see him being good. It's like, what are we doing? But you know what? Again, going back to like the chemistry of this team, Sean Payton is keeping them all on the East Coast this week, where they're not coming home. They're all staying together. I think they're going to New Jersey, I believe.
West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia. Okay.
Random place.
And it just goes to show you, like, but that's where teams are built, is when it's like we're all, it's like summer camp kind of, but like in a fun way. And it's like, how much better is this week going to be for those guys after a win like this? And now going into the Jets game, I just feel like they're going to have a lot of confidence, and they're all going to be around each other. And, this is how you build strong teams. And I just love that there was a plan. We always would have such trouble going to the East Coast. And Sean Payton had requested, can we get 2 of our East Coast games back to back? So he planned on this to be a thing. And those are the little details that Sean Payton does, whether it's making the other team wear their black jerseys in the sun, or whether on the schedule, how to run that ends up being big differences. And like you said, if, going into this after the first 4 weeks, we're playing such tough defenses, such tough teams, 3 games on the road. If we could be 2-2 going out of these first 4 games, we'd be in really good shape. And we have an opportunity to do that. And I honestly think they're going to be going in with more confidence than they went in with even week 1. I mean, they went on the road and did their thing. They're sticking together. And I'm excited to see exactly how it's going to be.
We're going to see how good this Jets offensive line really is, man, because we have a menacing front 7 coming after a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Can Sean Payton finally get his revenge, man, against Nathaniel Hackett for just ruining this team? You're talking about such a difference in plans. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett's plan was to just hug everybody before practice, and now you're seeing this totally different contrast, keeping the guys on the East Coast. Shout out to Sports Talk Denver. I remember him doing a video on this months ago when that first came out, and talking about how, the guys going on a week and a half long business trip on the East Coast. And man, if we could just get that win against the Jets in in New York, and I'll be elated, and we'll see what happens with this Atlanta game in KC, but we very well could only be
What's the score?
one game behind. Well, Chiefs are
Oh,
up
we
by
can't talk
2.
about divisions yet, guys. Come on, you give me
Oh
too
yeah,
hype.
no, I'm just wondering.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. I love it.
Yes,
but I don't
we're
want
only one
to.
game.
For
We're
me,
going to the postseason, baby.
I feel like I'm still I'm still like scarred. I'm like, I don't talk about anything too early.
Oh, no,
Just as you said,
I
that
just wanna
Mahomes
know.
has a huge pass too.
I know.
Yeah,
I'll comment on this
about
too,
Bo
since D-Rock asked this. Is McGlinchey on the hot seat, man? I don't know. Palczewski played pretty good today. Give him another week off. That's how I feel about it. Give him another week off until we see something wrong.
Well, he's on IR, right? Isn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
yeah.
right. So we're gonna have a nice little 4 to 6 game sample size, right? Something like
lots
that.
of Palco.
Who was
he's going to be going up against Max Crosby at some point.
Crosby hurt his ankle
in
today.
3 games or whenever it is. So that's going to be a hell of a test.
And I think Joey Bosa got banged up today too.
Yeah. Who was the backup tackle last year? That was the swing tackle that played really well. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Are you talking about? We gave him a tryout this week,
and he played really well. But everyone's like, "Oh,
the guy we had last year." Then he signed with someone. He was a veteran. What's his name?
I thought he did. I thought he signed somewhere else.
What was his name? Guys, in the comments, help us out. Who was our swing tackle last year? We didn't re-sign, and I was like, "Bring this guy back instead of Matt Pert."
Right. I was the same way. But the point was, let's pump the brakes on one good performance. I mean, that was a great performance. And Powers, who had been struggling, and I think Wattenberg too. None of those guys gave up a pressure today. And if you would have told me Wattenberg and Powers and those guys were not going to give out any pressures against, the Bucs, I would have been
Fleming.
Like, there you go.
Yes.
Fleming. Gosh, I'm losing it. But I mean, he's a perfect example of like why you can't overreact to 1 or 2 good games, because it's like he's probably not. I don't know where he is right now. Hopefully he's doing well, but we obviously were fine letting him go. I wasn't fine with it, but I wanted him back because he did perform. Yeah,
he's available. Matt Pert came in for 1 play today. He was playing like tight end pretty much.
He got beat.
And he got
absolutely blown up.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "Where's Bowles at?" And then I was like, "Oh, they just brought him in totally
backfired."
Yeah, I don't know about McGlinchey. I mean, I think, listen, if you look at the contract, we're tied to McGlinchey at least for sure for next year, probably even for 2026. But I've always wondered this because we restructured his contract, I think, this year too. But I've always wondered
so we're super screwed if we try and cut him now.
Yeah, but I've always wondered, like, is he a player that like could play on the left side?
I don't know. That's a good question.
He's not good in pass pro, so that would be not.
No,
good,
I don't think so.
I don't think he ever has. Right? He's always been a pure.
I don't know what he played in college. I can't.
He's always been a pure right tackle, which is I was hoping Palczewski can be that left tackle, but he's always played right his whole career as well. Because I don't think Bowles is here next year, not because of bad play by any means. I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
You think we can franchise him and trade him, or is that going to be too expensive?
I actually think that there's a rule around that. I don't think you can franchise somebody that's already had a second contract.
Oh,
maybe that's not a rule. I don't know why I felt like I've heard that.
Yeah, I think that does sound.
But maybe I don't know.
I don't know. It'd be hard. It's hard to like let go of talented or it's like even decent starting left tackles in this league. I mean, he gave up a hold today, which is like, oh, it's frustrating. And Bo Nix ran for a first down on that play, but even won a game, you're just like, I can live with it as long as you're not getting your quarterback hit. And yeah, we've been saying that about Bulls for, it seems like year after year after year. So I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see. McGlinchey definitely is for the next 2 because when we restructured, they would the dead cap would hurt us. But Palcho was saying in the post game how much Mike McGlinchey is helped bring him along and taught him so much about that position.
That's great.
So I just think McGlinchey, I really like him as a person and him as a leader on the team. He's definitely a better run blocker than a pass blocker, but that guy is like, he's kind of quietly one of those leadership roles of, especially on the offensive line. He's been there and done that. Garrett Bowles has obviously played longer and is a vet, but as far as like being a voice and being like instructional and maybe being off the field and that kind of a thing, it's just like Mike McGlinchey is going to be like the solid rock of that. So
I just don't think he's really good.
I
don't think Mike McGlinchey is that good.
Just good. He's good.
He's good.
But he's not.
I feel like Bowles is good. Great. I feel like McGlinchey, I don't know. He's terrible in pass pro, which is fine, but he hasn't even really been that good run blocking. I don't know. Maybe
I guess I need to look at the stats, but I mean, he's our best right tackle since Orlando Franklin, right?
Oh well, yeah, but that's not saying that much, man.
I mean,
I'm talking about for the amount of money we're paying, right? But
way overpaid,
Yeah. Dude, I mean, Jawan James, Menelik Watson. How many names do you guys want to hear?
You're triggering me.
Menelik Watson.
Oh God, it's like
I was like
Nathaniel Hackett's friend that we brought back. What was his name? Come on.
As a right tackle.
Yeah, right tackle.
Yeah, and he ended up being hurt the whole time. He's back in Green Bay, I think. Or no, Billy Turner. He's with the Jets.
Billy Turner,
yeah,
dude.
Billy Turner.
He's actually with the Jets, yeah.
Yeah.
I was so shocked he got that
still with him.
deal. He had never started. He filled in, and then the Green Bay gave him like this huge deal, and I was just like, people were like, we'd like him back, and it's like he just signed for 13 a year, and you're like, what? How? Why? Like that's that just goes to show you how like offensive linemen in this league are just so. I mean, there's just a drought on them.
Yeah, that's why it's like I'd rather keep these guys if you can, and hopefully you can develop. Palcho is a good example and gives you hope that we can take some of these other developmental tackles, hopefully freaking in the draft this year. Can we draft an offensive tackle and develop him so that, hey, like, because I still think Garrett Bowles still has some good football left. But again, we're not getting Ryan Clady out of Garrett Bowles. We're never going to get Ryan.
I just feel like he might not be back because I feel like they would have signed him to an extension this year. But
yeah, it's almost always like he does just well enough to be like, okay, we'll give you another year. Okay, we'll give you another year. But it's terrifying to give him like 5, So
because they could have saved quite a bit of money on it. But.
Yeah, so I think a week ago it was like we have to get a receiver, we have to get like a weapon, and now it's like, okay, an offensive lineman is probably the smart play. So,
Yeah,
we still got to get a receiver.
Yeah, we still need a few weapons for sure.
No, for sure. It'll be interesting to see, and this was without Vele. I thought we missed him today. Like I thought there were some chances there to really, where he would have come in clutch. It'll be interesting to see where we're at in like the end of this year with Franklin and Vele as far as how much they're showing, because I honestly think those two guys can really end the season and go into the next season with like, we can be thinking a whole different way about those two guys.
Yes. And Vele, like if he's just replacing Lil Jordan Humphrey, like Lil Jordan Humphrey had that like 17-yard catch where he like broke a tackle, dude. I feel like Vele takes that and like at least doubles the yardage of that with his speed. Like, we'll have to see, but I got a question for you guys. If we finish like middle of the road and we have a middle-ish draft pick, would you guys like sell the farm for Travis Hunter, man? Like to try and move up?
Hell yes, I would. Hell yes, I would.
How nice is this farm? That would be my question.
Yeah, what kind of farm are we selling?
Like,
I'm still selling it.
I think probably say we have somewhere between 15 and 20 for our pick. It's probably this year's first, next year's first, and probably a few seconds, maybe another first to move up into the top
it's funny.
5
No, I wouldn't do that.
You just can't do it for non-quarterbacks. You just can't do it.
Yeah. You're right.
You're better
right.
off. You're better
But,
off
man,
losing like the final 7 games in a row on purpose.
yeah, I'm fine tanking for Travis Hunter, man. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine our secondary with him? Can you imagine because, dude, if he can make it through this season healthy, I still want to play him at both positions.
But see that
Yeah,
first
I don't know if they would.
caveat
though.
that you just said is what my worry would be, because
Right.
it
We
would
got to
just
see.
he's. I mean, I've
He's
never
the
seen an
ultimate
athlete
clutch
like him.
player. He's the ultimate clutch player. You know he's always going to come up big for you.
Dude, to make the play that wins the game yesterday, and then to also be like, he's an unbelievable. I mean, I have not seen a guy like that. Again, we've talked about it. How good of a kid he is too. Like, these guys just do not come around in this package like this. It's unreal. But you're going to be having to get him top 5, top 3 probably, especially if there's not a big quarterback market.
I really do wonder if he goes first overall, depending on how these quarterbacks perform the rest of the year.
People get crazy with the quarterbacks like they always do, but yeah, I mean, and usually receivers, our receivers get paid more than corners. Corners,
Yeah.
Seem to get drafted sometimes higher than receivers. It just depends, who knows about where you say positional value is, but it's just unbelievable just to watch him play. I mean, let's just
who we really need though.
We
need that Ashton Genty guy from Boise State at running back.
Yes.
You'd probably have to take him in the first. That dude is ridiculous.
I think I saw a mock draft on Twitter where a Broncos fan had him.
He is ridiculous. I'm never a fan of actually I am a fan of trading back of drafting backs early, just never necessarily signing him to a second contract. But man, that guy, he is nice, dude. He's really good.
Yeah, no, I saw the same mock draft, and we trade the guy. I think it was Boggins. He's traded back twice and still drafted him 10th overall. I'm like, 10th overall for running back, but I mean, yeah, you see Javonte cough it up and see how the game switches, and you go, oh my gosh, how nice would it be? Look at how Saquon Barkley's doing with the Eagles. Those guys are so valuable. When we had TD, it was a whole different world, and yeah. So I mean, there's still value there, but the odds are you don't draft a running back in the first round.
Oh, dude, Bucky Irving looked on another level of athletic compared to any of our backs today.
Yeah, but you guys see last week's game, the Falcons and the Eagles, right? Just watching Bijan and Saquon run, you're like, damn,
yeah,
that would be really nice to have on a team like ours. And I know Sean Payton is dying to have one back he can just lean on because it just makes everything so much easier. But yeah, I mean, Bucky Irvin looked. Tyler Beatty looked like Bucky Irvin a little bit today, but he's good. He looks real good.
I don't know. You can Bucky Irvin left Alex Singleton's soul on the field on that one play. That was insane. I was oh my gosh, talk about that was the equivalent of in basketball, you break the guy's ankle so bad he falls off the court, and you're just oh my gosh, that was. And there were so many people about Bucky Irving. He's too small. He's not fast. He doesn't have a top 40, all this stuff. And it was okay. And you get to see that play and you go, man, how nice would it be to have Bucky Irving and Troy Franklin with Bo Nix? I mean, the chemistry would just be already there. It didn't happen, so we don't have to talk about it. But yeah, he looked good, obviously.
He did.
I'm trying to look up here really quick what the stats are for sacks for the New York Jets. Let me pull this up really quick because, I feel man, if we can just disrupt that offensive line, I have legitimate confidence in this defense, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their one guy got hurt. That Morgan Moses guy got hurt, and then they replaced him with the first-round draft pick.
I think Mekhi Becton got hurt.
Did he get hurt as well?
Got hurt too. Yeah.
Well, was Becton their draft pick that they let go in free agency?
It was, yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Maybe I'm thinking. I just saw it on the ticker, but I think you're right. I think he went to the Steelers, and he was playing guard, or was the Eagles? And I think he's playing guard there though.
So Aaron Rodgers has been sacked 5 times. I'll have to look into the PFF stuff.
I don't recommend Vance Joseph blitz Aaron Rodgers 70% of the time next week. I don't recommend that.
It would be nice if we can make Aaron Rodgers feel like a 6-foot quarterback like we did with Baker, but yeah.
Right. Like there's a big difference between a guy who has a quick release and seen it all as opposed to Baker Mayfield who can't, it's difficult to see over the line. And I mean, I give Baker credit. Like he battled and he got out of some stuff that I was surprised that he got out of. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a whole different.
I love how he plays. I'm a big Baker fan.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is a different animal. And
I actually dressed up like him one year for Halloween. Everyone kept saying I look like him. So I bought a Baker Mayfield jersey, returned it right away afterwards. When he was with the Browns.
Did you hire a couple cops to chase you down the street?
I should have.
You wear the disguise, or no? That's the Johnny Manziel Vegas disguise. I was getting confused.
Yeah. Now Baker, props to Baker for like everybody thought he was done, and Sam Darnold, man, did you see him today? Like the
elite.
The comeback of those two guys from where they were, I give those guys a lot of credit because, a lot of times when like people think you're one thing and they don't give you another chance. Those guys are really showing it, and hopefully Zach Wilson's the same way. But yeah, both of those guys just props to them.
Competent coaching, man. Competent coaching can change a lot of things. So
just shows you what the Browns and the Jets are.
And I'll leave all of Broncos country with this. Just think about it. The two teams we lost to in week one and week 2 are both 3-0.
Yep.
And they both made teams look really, really bad offensively. So maybe just maybe we aren't as bad offensively as everybody said, but today was a hell of a step in the right direction. So I still don't think like the Steelers and the Seahawks are necessarily elite teams, but they're still winning games, man, and they looked really good in the process. So
I wouldn't mind seeing the Steelers in the playoffs, dude. I want to get their revenge. I still think when all things are clicking, we're a better team. But I know that might sound crazy to say, but I want to see them again.
Some of the people on there were saying on Twitter were like, "Oh, I think Russ lost his job." I was like, "He's never had that job." Like
he
they
shouldn't
said
have.
he had the job, but like somehow a calf is keeping you out. There's no way he's getting back on the field. Field's like winning games and looking the way he's looking. And their defense is so good that it's just like Fields only has to put up 20 and they're probably going to win. So it's not like you have to like world beat like anything. So, and the Seahawks just destroyed today, and Geno Smith ain't all that in my opinion. So yeah, it just goes to show you those guys, those defenses are legit.
They're real. Well, Marc, Jeremy, I think I'm going to wrap this up, but super appreciative of your time as always. Really glad that we can do this every week. Marc, before we sign off, let the people know where to find you, what you got coming up this week.
Yeah, y'all can follow me at Marky Sports Denver, spelled just like it is in my name here, but with the word Denver after on YouTube. Marky_sports on Twitter. And so follow me, interact with me. I love it. I'd really appreciate it. I'm on a mission to get 500 subscribers here, hopefully in the next few weeks. So that'll be a nice little milestone. And I finally got my NFL Plus account working. Man, I called them. I don't even know where the hell they're located
worst,
at.
Dude. Yeah.
Finally got it working. I think it was working today. So we'll see if the all 22 film comes out tomorrow. And I'm excited to break down some of these games and see if I can even do 10% as good a job as you, David. And then we'll be all right.
Oh man, you're too kind. But man, I can't wait to see it. Marc. Jeremy, really appreciate you joining again. And yeah, I guess we'll get together for a post game next week. Guys, please like and subscribe on the way out. Let us know your thoughts on the replay in the comments on today's game. And as always, y'all, go Broncos.
Broncos.
Salute. Broncos.
All right.